Montero on rooftops. What's up, guys? Wanted to do something a little different. Since there's really no big fights this weekend, I'm not going to have a whole lot to review on next week's episode of The Neutral Corner, which will be episode 80, by the way. So we're approaching episode 100. Pretty cool, and I got some stuff planned for that episode. More to come with that, but there's going to be some special things coming up. And so anyway, I thought it might be cool to answer some of your questions on next week's episode of TNC. So leave your questions in the comments of this video and I'll address them next week. So like I said, not a whole lot going on, not a whole lot to review. I'll answer your questions and then I'll get into the preview of the following week's action because the schedule is going to start heating back up toward the end of this month. Real quickly, wanted to go over a couple of news items in boxing that came out recently over the last couple days. Maybe that will trigger some questions, I don't know. But a big fight, I think, and a really good doubleheader so far. Just got put together. The details being ironed out, but it's pretty much agreed to. Joe Smith Jr., Sullivan Barrera, July 15th, here in LA at the Forum, which is, I don't know, maybe 10 miles that way. And then the co-feature is going to be Miguel Berchelt defending his 130-pound title against Takashi Miura. Of course, the WBC mandated that fight. I like that fight a lot. And apparently it's going to be on HBO, regular HBO, and it's going to be a triple header. Those are the two fights they have so far. That's already a great card. But whatever the third fight is, that's going to be a nice triple header, man. And HBO needs that, right? HBO got off to a really rough start this year. Showtime's been whooping their ass. But things are set up right now where I think they're going to have a comeback in the second half of this year. If you look, I thought HBO did really good purchasing that replay of Joshua Klitschko. That was really cheap, all things considered, because it was a foreign fight, the licensing fees are different, and it was a replay. And it was one of their highest viewed replays that they've had in years. So it did really well for them, and it was a moneymaker, all things considered. And now it gives them options on AJ in the future. Once his deal runs out with Showtime, now he's been on HBO. If Klitschko decides to do a rematch, they'll have options on that. Even if Klitschko doesn't want to do that rematch and just wants to do one last farewell fight, maybe in the Ukraine or something, HBO is going to have options on that. So either way, they did really good on that. And then they got Crawford coming up. It's always good when Terrence Crawford fights on regular HBO. And then they got some cards coming up over the summer. And then they got the fight of the year, well, the fight of the last several years, Canelo Golovkin, that just came together. Now, of course, that's pay-per-view, but all the preview shows and everything else, I don't know if you're hearing sirens. This is my neighborhood, 24/7, sirens and choppers. At least there's no helicopters out right now, but don't worry, they're coming. But anyway, I just think, you know, this is a nice doubleheader that's going to be a triple header for HBO. July 15th, I think that's a really good main event, man, between Smith and Barrera. Those are two top 10. The winner of that fight is at least the top 5 light heavyweight. So, you know, and that's coming just a month after we're getting Ward and Kovalev again. So it means something. That fight really means something. And then you got to remember Alexander Gvozdyk is still in the mix too. So good things happening at light heavyweight, and HBO is heavily invested in that division. Also, let's see, Tyson Fury. I've talked about this a little bit, but he had issues with UKAD. This goes back to 2015, where apparently Tyson and his cousin Huey both tested positive for nandrolone, which is a synthetic. It's been on the prohibited list forever. And that was, again, back in 2015, before he fought Vladimir Klitschko. There was supposed to be a hearing about that, like last year, and it keeps getting postponed. It was supposed to happen soon. It just got postponed again. UKAD is citing a possible conflict of interest, as they called it, and there's no date. They're just postponing it again. Frank Warren, the promoter, he's gone on record saying, look, man, UKAD's got to get it together. This doesn't look good, and we're trying to figure out what the hell we can do moving forward, because Tyson Fury wants to fight again, right? He's talking about making a comeback. Guys, he's not even a licensed boxer right now. He couldn't fight right now if he wanted to. And I don't believe he can even get licensed until his UKAD hearing happens. But considering him testing positive, supposedly, for nandrolone. I haven't seen the test results or anything, and I guess that's what this hearing's all about, is to get all that in the open and show all the evidence. I don't know, but supposedly he did, which is a synthetic, like I said. That was before the Klitschko fight. And then Vladimir Klitschko and his people weren't made aware of it until 6 months after their fight, and that's why Vladimir wanted VADA testing for the rematch. And then Tyson Fury tests positive for cocaine, which, look, I'm no psychiatrist. I play one on TV sometimes, but it's the telltale signs, right? It's just textbook signs of self-sabotage for Tyson Fury, failure of success, all that kind of stuff. Considering all that, that's kind of why I say, look, that win for Fury over Klitschko has a little asterisk next to it. And those of you out there who are giving me shit for saying that Anthony Joshua's win over Klitschko is more impressive than Tyson Fury's, and it was the true passing of the torch, this is why I say it. Because Fury has all this cloud, this craziness around him, and he hasn't done anything in 2 years now. He's not even ranked, he's not even licensed. And let's go back to that win over Klitschko. He had tested positive for a synthetic earlier that year. If that fight was VADA tested, would it have ever happened? Could we have had a Wilder Povetkin situation going on? Who knows? I'm not accusing, I'm not saying that, but considering what happened before, considering what happened after, and then when you look at the actual fight, some of you out there talk about Tyson Fury dominated Klitschko, he exposed him, he outclassed him, he outboxed him. Guys, he neutralized Vladimir Klitschko, slapped him a few times. He outpunched him, but it's not like he tripled his work. He landed a few more punches in most of the rounds, the majority of the rounds, to win that fight. But it wasn't a great fight. And Vladimir Klitschko did not take Tyson Fury seriously. And there's plenty of evidence for that, but I'll just cite one thing. He weighed 5 pounds less when he fought Anthony Joshua. So think about this, a year and a half layoff, a year and a half older, and he comes in 5 pounds lighter. That means he took Joshua seriously. And check this, he was 4 pounds lighter the fight before Fury when he fought Bryant Jennings. So it's obvious to me just on weight alone that Klitschko took Fury lightly, and I could go on and on. I could do a whole rant video about that, but we'll just leave it there, okay? So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. What else? Oh, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I guess I got to talk about this, right? Apparently, you know, you guys have probably seen the video now of him hanging out in a hotel room with a bunch of hookers or girls who look like hookers. Some people were saying that video was fake or it was from years ago. Well, here's the thing. Julio's wife just had an interview. I saw Boxing Scene had a little blurb about this, a few quotes from the interview, where she talked about that video. It was from after the Canelo fight, and apparently, dude got robbed. Dude got robbed from a $40,000 watch, his cell phone, which probably has all kinds of information. Who knows what kind of stuff is stored on that cell phone. That could lead to all kinds of other crap. And his actual check from the Canelo fight, which, you know, okay, the promoter could just void that out and write a new one, but still, I mean, that's going to make a cool memorabilia item for whoever the hell stole it. Apparently, they were all down in the bar, and I guess they stayed in Vegas because Junior's wife wanted to see a Celine Dion concert, and they were in this bar, and some British dude, or as she puts it, some white guy with green eyes who said he was from London, and a bunch of girls start talking to him and buying him drinks, whatever. Julio's wife goes back to the room to take care of the kid, and Julio hangs out with these guys and ends up, they all go back to the room. Guys, if we've learned anything from movies like Die Hard or any action film, it's always the evil white guy, right? If some guy in a suit, some smooth talking dude in a suit with a European accent, particularly a British one, with a bunch of scantily clad women walks over and starts offering you drinks, he's up to no good, right? That's what TV has taught us. Don't trust those people. It's always the white guy. So, yeah, that's what happened with Julio. Look, man, it's not going to end well with that guy. He's got some problems, man. But either way, so that's what's up with the news and notes. Not much else going on. Leave some questions here in the comments section, and we'll talk about them next week. I'll see you at the fights.